after childbirth. Yes, postpartum, there's a lot of that happening because there's just so much stress, And anyway, so we need to build on that spiritual strength. And out of that comes that vision that we all seek, okay? The next direction is the black color. So we have the red in the east, the black is in the south, and that's what it says up there, Sauna Snug in my language. Black family, it represents the black family. The element is water. The season is summer. The stage of life is youth. And of course, the social realm, your caring. And of course, your emotional strength. So what's important in that stage is as you're carried as a baby in birth, you're not walking yet. So one of the ceremonies that we do for the baby after the placental burial is when they stand up for the first time and try to stand up longer than us holding them on our laps, because we never put the babies on the ground or the floor before they're ready to walk. It's rushing their babiness. We have to wait, and so we do a ceremony when those babies are ready to stand up on their own, and we call it a coming out ceremony. So they're brought out to the community. Look, my baby's standing up. My baby's getting ready to be an earth walker. And so the community will come up and we do a giveaway, so people will bring extra moose meat, blankets, or whatever. And the baby is then taught to go pick something out of the basket and give it to a stranger, so they'll learn the gift of generosity. So, which means social skills, right? There's other people besides your parents and your immediate family that are responsible for you. These are your community. This is your community. So you have to love them so that they'll love you and stuff. So those are the kind of things that what's expected of that social realm, that caring for others outside of your mom and dad who give you everything. So there's a big responsibility. And notice that emotional strength, that's when a baby, when a baby cries, we go right up and we know they can't feed themselves, they can't change themselves, so they're taken care of. But when they start toddling, then we start with, no, don't touch that because you might get burned. No, don't touch that, you might get hurt. No, don't cross the street because you might get run over. So they're starting to hear no, 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 compared to the whatever you want, So it's important at that stage, at toddling, to remind them, as I mentioned before, of, that to listen to your elders, to listen to your parent, and let the parents parent. But today we have parents who don't know how to parent because maybe there's some parenting skills that are lacking as well, because it's easier to give the baby what they want or the toddler what they want than listen to them crying, because we think crying is a weakness. But in that direction, that crying is actually a good way to start setting those boundaries. Now, you can't have your way all the time. I'm the parent, you're the child, And that's why aunts and uncles were important, because if a parent couldn't discipline, then the aunts and uncles would actually be there to assist. Oh, you have to listen to your mother because, So it was really important to include them and stuff, and to honor their tears. Like, I know you're mad, that's okay, I get mad too. Just don't stay mad, So that's emotion, and that's how do we honor water in that way? And that's what that emotional strength is, teaching them how to accept no in the same way they accept yes, okay? Compassion, you have to teach them about, I saw something yesterday in church, and this young family, brought their young children, but they weren't that young, maybe about 10 and 12. And the 10-year-old brought a game to church, and I thought, well, okay, he probably didn't want to come to church to begin with, so they compromised and stuff. But when it was time to kneel, then the father brought down the pew, what's that called? The kneeler, the kneeling bench, and he took his shoes off, and it got on the little boy's toe, and he was mad at his dad for stepping on his toe, and and so he was angry. They had to take him out to the car. And I'm going, gee, that's too bad. They lost a whole teaching moment of when you're in church, you can't, that's not a play station, blah, 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 blah. And I really felt bad, you know what I mean, and stuff, that this child missed out on that emotional strength, and probably never heard anything the priest had to say, which was really some things that he had to say, because he was asking for this communal responsibility, for each other, and that caring and stuff. So that's what that gift of water is. So for me, honoring tears. So when my grandchildren cry, I'll actually go, "Aww," and I'll put it on my heart, and stuff. You're growing up, because now you're not just laughing all the time, because part of growing up and maturity is honoring the pain. How are we going to deal with this pain and stuff? So that's what that element is and stuff, okay? And of course, the yellow family, their element is air, and the season is autumn, and it's the stage of adulthood. And in this stage, as an adult, of course, you're going to be responsible for because now, of course, it does happen. Children still come to us as adults for money, you know what I mean? Because they haven't learned how to have a good relationship with money. They have it, they spend it. And so we're constantly teaching them how to budget, how to do this. For me, it was really important for young parents that are getting ready to marry. And I says, I know you probably think it's none of my business, but I need to know, are you ready to handle your finances as a couple? Because those are big breakup reasons. And so you need to know what's your relationship with money. So I go through this with my couples, because as part of their being together is, how are you going to share, who's going to pay for what, etc., and all that. So it's part of getting the couple ready for their adult responsibility, their mature responsibility, and how do you share that? And it's also physical strength, meaning how are they taking care of their bodies, which means their eating habits are important, because if she doesn't know how to cook, he doesn't know how to cook, how are they going to be able to take care of a healthy body if they're going to be going out to eat all the time? So there's lots of things to consider. And so it's physical strength. So being strong enough to understand your own body, to know what your body needs, to know what your body doesn't need, to know your limits, and it's so hard for us, because today we have food that's being imported from all over the world, and we don't know the territory it was, so it's really important to, I know our elder always told us, I think you're sick because you've been eating grapes from Chile, and stuff, because your body isn't used to it. You have to eat food that's grown on your land, et cetera, and all that. Or just knowing your body. Reflection is important, and that's that mirror that I'm talking about, looking inside yourself for that strength that you need for difficult times. Looking for that elder within you to make better decisions than the child within you, because the child within you gets hurt easy, but the elder in you is going to take care of that child within you. And so work this way instead of, I don't know what to do, I'm going to have to look for a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a psychoanalyst, and all of that, which that's okay, but go in there first, and that's why reflection is important, and that's your strength, okay? And of course, the Lotaguasin of the north is white, and it's the element of fire. It's the season of winter. It's the elder stage. Now, granted, there are some people that will call 30-year-olds elders. It's because of the actions. This also talks about not just that elder stage of wisdom. It also talks about chronologically the years of life that you've had. That's also another elder stage. It's not just being a young elder. It's being an elder chronologically. So your political realm is there, and believe it or not, that's where honesty belongs. And a lot of times when I've showed this diagram, people say, what's honesty doing there? And I says, well, it was there originally, and stuff. It was because it was the clan mothers who were the political force, and honesty was there. They were very truthful. We carry truth as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the rivers flow. But our women have forgotten. And because women have been put on a pedestal to think you're the leader, and therefore you're the boss, therefore you're the, and especially when you put them in boss of the household, right? Ask mom. ask, and so we're given that level, but we can't abuse that. We have to make sure that we encourage even those babies. There's a job for them to do. Even the toddlers, they have a job to do. Yes, you've played, you've made a mess, but you have to clean it up too. So there's a way of teaching that responsibility. I always did. Matter of fact, my grandson's going through that. He's a little bit over a year, and he's taking everything out of the cupboard. I said, give him his own cupboard. Teach him that this is yours and this is mom's. You know what I mean? And put the things he likes in there, like empty cereal boxes or things that aren't going to hurt him, and teach him that that's your cupboard and this is mine. I won't go into yours if you won't go into mine. To teach them about boundaries, because they can learn. I know my sons learned and stuff. I even used to pretend I'd go into theirs by mistake when they're watching. And I'll go, oh, I'm sorry, I just went into your cupboard. I didn't mean to, and stuff. I was just looking for, oh, that's okay, Mom, you can go in our cupboard. I said, yeah, but some things in my cupboard aren't safe for you. That's why I don't want to go into yours if you promise me you won't go into mine. So, so there's this compromise. Mental strength is, I guess, thinking, having moments where you're not so filled with noise that you can't think. You need that. That's why walks in the woods, walks by the water, just sitting down and listening to nature, is mental strength, because sometimes what happens to us, where the stress comes from, is we're worried about tonight's supper, we're worried about tomorrow's session, we're worried about deadlines for next week. We're worried about